Right, onwards we go. I'm probably not going to be all that satisfied no matter how much progress we make in this clip. That's more because I'm just a tired son of a bitch at this point than because the game's poorly paced or something. Should I laugh at the fact that that Metroid died before the missile landed? Because I'm too busy missing the ice beam right now. We've definitely killed this same set of Metroids a few times before. Again, I can't help finding it funny that the 3D games really didn't want to bother having any Metroids other than the younger ones, really. Right, time to actually get to the green door in this room. It's probably gonna be a pain in the ass to reach, but I'm sure that it's not all that impossible with the ways we can shift around the blocks, and the spider ball tracks are certainly gonna make things easier for us. I'm sure I'm gonna make this more annoying than it should be to get to point A to point B, but hey, that's one of the reasons I'm fast forwarding. Okay, here's hoping we can get to the green door relatively smoothly without having to change anything around here. Always annoying to move around with the spider ball when you have to shift angles for the control stick at a certain point and there's no warning for it. Definitely feels like this is the right route to take. Okay, the fires in here at first made me think there was going to be something interesting, but no, this is just another simple missile expansion. I suppose I can also work my way towards that white door in a similar looking room. That's gonna be a long trip though. Maybe long enough for the game to outright tell me what we need to do next. How the hell did I not scan that the last time I was in here? Not that I'd call myself extremely thorough. There's always at least a few things that slip by me, but I certainly spent quite a bit of the game with the scanner visor on. Of course, you'd also think I'd remember those patches of Phazon being on the ground, so maybe something's changed?
Recording to logbook.
Ah, so the room has changed at least a little since last time we were here. Not really used to that sort of thing in a Metroid game, so it caught me a bit off guard. Ah well, at least I had the sense to slow the footage down for a bit. Anyone else find it strange that we were introduced to the stronger, more healthy form of Metroid earlier in the game? Sure, it makes sense that newly born Metroids aren't as durable as the ones that are fully grown into their first form, but still. And excuse me for saying this, but somehow this makes the whole idea of Samus hesitating to kill the baby from Metroid 2 just a little bit more awkward. Not that it's a particularly traumatic experience for us or something, but if Samus already has gotten used to killing newly hatched Metroids, then it makes it just a little bit more baffling that later in the timeline she's not gonna just pull the trigger on that individual one. Maybe it's just a case of me being just a bit too harsh on the storytelling or something. Bloody hell, just how many of those little bastards are gonna show up in here? Am I just supposed to leave the room that's clearly some form of nest for the Metroids? Hell, how are these little bastards even being born in here anyway? Do the pirates just have their pirate cloning machines automatically at a rapid pace or something? Because I'm pretty sure that even as crazy as they are, They don't want the energy-sucking monsters that are annoying as hell to tame to be popping up faster than frickin' roaches. Okay, there was nothing in here. Bit of a shame, but it was worth checking to be sure, especially since the room connected to it has more Metroids than the bloody Metroid homeworld. Of course, now part of me can't help wondering what 3D versions of the 2D games we've gone through would be like. Partly because, again, I'm really procrastinating on recording Metroid Prime 3, even though we're quite a ways through 2 at this point. Well, the pirates in this room haven't changed at all. Guess it was just that Metroid room that changed since last time we were in there. It wasn't much of a change, but still, this late in the game, I'll appreciate any changes at all. Especially since in the first Metroid Prime, there was, as far as I remember, no changes. It was just a steady, static environment unless we opened a door or activated a switch. Part of me wants to ask why these tunnels bother to have those little doors that occasionally show up, since the last time I checked, the whole room should have been loaded in when we walked in. The other is mildly curious if those are the non-infested pirates sending another batch of troops through, or if the infested ones want to reinforce a position on the other side, though I suppose I probably wouldn't be able to tell if the Ing are trying to reinforce a given position or not. Not when we've slaughtered so many of them already, and not when they effectively have no choice but to wait for us to do whatever it is we're gonna do, instead of doing anything more active. After all, we have that ridiculous energy transference device, the weapon that both sides want to use to gain victory in this poor excuse of a war. Even if we want to keep the whole erase a mirror image of the world weapon in a story, we could still have had moments or two of the Ing trying to attack Luminoth military positions or trying to slaughter the ones who are in stasis. Hell, if I read the lore correctly, then the Ing were winning the war conventionally when the Luminoth came up with that weapon. Why not go for the conventional victory, since the Deus Ex Machina is no longer in their claws? I'm sure I've asked that same point a few times in this game. It's just one of those nagging things that bothers me, since the story claims that there's a war going on, but we're not seeing any sign of it actively going on during our stay on the planet. It's funny how part of me would certainly think about trying to go through the trouble of getting the right timing with our bombs to get to that energy tank, but since this is part of an LP, and I'm getting pretty worn down with this game, I'm just gonna ignore it. Not that that's much of an excuse for why I didn't grab it earlier in the game, but still. Not even sure where I'm gonna boost to at the moment. Yeah, rolling around like that was just a waste of time. Okay, can't trigger that at the moment. Bloody hell. Bloody hell, we got things to scan right now, because I'm sure we've already triggered that crap before. Yeah, I think we've got that covered now. Another missile expansion. Again, nothing really against the upgrades we can gain this many examples of, but I'm not really trying to 100% this game. Again, It is just... I just want all the absolutely critical suit upgrades, all the keys we need for the third temple and the final boss area, and then we can move on to finish our time on this planet. I've certainly been bitching about this place more than anywhere else we've worked with Samus as far as I know. The closest thing to this level of exasperation I can think of is the Metroid homeworld, and that's because I played AM2R and the 3DS game back to back, going through two games that touched on the same events. This is a single game, and again, the whole key hunting thing got old quite a while ago. Come to think of it, when's the last time the hint system bothered turning on for us to tell us what to do? I'm sure that it's a bad sign that I just want the hint system to keep turning on and telling us exactly where to go and what to do for the entire rest of the game. Though I suppose I could also check on an online guide or something. After using a save state and an invincibility cheat code to get past the spider ball boss, I don't think there's too much honor left in me for this particular adventure. Bloody hell, it's just annoying enough trying to find out where to go next when I just don't like three-dimensional maps. Adding in the whole alternate version of the world thing is just making it even more of a pain to find my way around here. Definitely wish there was a sense I had a real goal at the moment instead of just wandering around hoping to get lucky. But then I might be able to summon some muster of enthusiasm for what we're doing at the moment and get really into just how much closer we're getting. But then I suppose even when I outright knew what we were going to be getting in a given clip, I wasn't particularly enthusiastic about it in this game. Or the first Metroid Prime, if I remember correctly. Maybe it has to do with how long these games are in comparison to the 2D Metroid titles. The entire franchise is essentially a scavenger hunt while exploring various areas, and while the occasional bit of fighting to go along with that. And I suppose that also sums up the early Resident Evil titles as well, and probably some other series. But none of those games tend to last over 12 hours as far as I remember. They tend to be shorter. Whereas Metroid Prime games we've gone through so far have been a hell of a lot longer. And I'm sure I'll be complaining about the length of Metroid Prime 3 whenever I finally get around to working on it. And of course, part of what makes it all feel so exhausting to me is my own damn fault for trying to LP it like this. Not that this sub-series isn't worth doing Let's Plays for, just that my commentary style seems to have issues with longer games. Issues that I hope to be able to move beyond, since I have plans to do a whole lot of longer games, like 2 of the Warcraft real-time strategy games, several Final Fantasy and Pokemon games, and quite a few other Japanese role-players. Again, it is a massive list. Running past that spider bot instead of fighting it might have felt a little more worth it if I had any real plan at the moment. Instead, I'm just spinning my wheels and hoping we find something along the way. Great. I'm literally walking through a portal simply because I have no idea what else to do at the moment. Good God, this game just makes traveling between worlds all too casual. Well, at least we've never been through this door before. I suppose that's something.
Recording to logbook.
So they're even taking over the repair box, huh? It's just amazing, just downright amazing how little I give a damn about the Ing when they're the kind of species that takes over bodies. I suppose the X from Fusion and Dread did too good of a job taking that particular niche in this franchise. It's just hilarious that the Ing are supposed to be pretty central in this game, but I just do not give a damn. They do touch on some tropes that have worked in this series, but they aren't doing them particularly well. The things that would have made them feel special either have gone ignored or have been done in such a way that it ends up feeling oddly mundane. And it's certainly not helped by the fact that the X from Fusion felt more active in the space station we had to destroy, doing things that Samus had to react to in various other parts of the station. Right, that takes care of those annoyances. And once again, all of that effort for a bloody missile expansion. I should probably think of saving soon, if only for a reason to just finish this clip. Not that there seems to be a save point in the dark version of the world in this area as far as I can tell. Okay, if I managed to cross that chasm before, I certainly don't remember how to at the moment. Another case of the 3D map throwing me off because perspective around here doesn't mean a damn thing. And apparently that leads back to a room we haven't figured out how to open the door for. Have I mentioned that I have no idea what to do at the moment, and that it's an all too familiar feeling in the Metroid games as a whole? It's just more painful in the 3D games because those are a lot longer. Right, back to the other side of the portal. Again, I'm pretty sure this is the only game in existence where they make it so bloody easy to go from one reality to another that it's like getting the groceries. Why did they have to make such a mechanic so mundane around here? Sure, a lot of games have that issue of turning things that are supposed to be amazing into something that's more commonplace, but going from one world to another is generally a pretty important thing. Even in something like Mario, where you go through multiple worlds in a single game, hell, just how the hell did Nintendo manage to release a game that has two major environments that feel absurdly forgettable and turns changing from one entire reality to another into a yawn-inducing process? After all these years of practice, you'd think they could make that sort of thing stick to your memory better just from sheer experience doing the same thing in various other games and franchises. Instead, this feels like absolutely rookie-level lackluster crap.